If you've ever had a moment where your life is good, like really good, but you start to feel this little tug towards something new and then instantly feel guilty for even thinking it, you are not alone. So many of us have that quiet spark, that whisper, and we shut it down before it even gets a chance to breathe because we feel guilty. It's one of the most common midlife experiences women never talk about. We tell ourselves that we should just be grateful. We don't want to look greedy or hard to please. But wanting more does not mean you are ungrateful. It means you're becoming the next version of yourself. And that's what we're diving into today. Hey, friend, welcome to the show. Today, we are talking about something very real, very human, very misunderstood: wanting more. Not wanting more because something is wrong, not chasing something out of lack or comparison, just wanting more because you're growing, you're evolving, you're feeling that little tug inside you that says, hey, there's something here for you. And for some reason, so many of us, especially midlife women with great lives, feel guilty the moment that tug shows up. So I want to share this very simple truth with you today. You are allowed to want more. Wanting more is growth, not greed. So for most women, midlife is a time where your life is pretty stable. You've worked hard, you've built things, you've survived things, and you might have a really beautiful life, but you can still feel a pull towards something additional, something new, something that just doesn't fit into the you should just be grateful script. And oftentimes that shame kicks in immediately. As soon as you have a new thought, a new idea, your brain almost attacks it with things like, I should just be satisfied with what I have, or other people have it so much worse, or I don't want people to think that I'm greedy or spoiled. Other people would feel so lucky to have what I have. How dare you want more? Can't you just be happy with what you have? And you end up feeling alone because honestly, we don't sit around at brunch saying, hey girls, so I love my life and I'm also wanting something more and I feel really guilty about that, right? You've probably never had that conversation, but I promise that other women feel that too. And I see it show up mostly in women who are well off, wealthy, successful. It seems like those are the women who have the most guilt for wanting more. But listen, that guilty feeling is not truth. It is learned and it is conditioning. Women have been taught for generations that wanting more makes you selfish, it means you're too much, or you're high maintenance. There is a book called Playing Big by Tara Moore. It is one of my favorites. I'll put a link in the show notes. And she talks about this beautifully in her book. She talks about how women are socialized to shrink themselves, to shrink their desires, and to shrink their ambitions. But the good news is that learned behaviors, conditioning, can be unlearned and unraveled. Let me just tell you what this looked like in my own life, because this is exactly how these little tugs show up. My entrepreneurship journey didn't actually start with a big business plan. It actually started with me painting murals on the walls of my son's bedroom. And I had never done anything like that before. And when I did, I was really surprised. Like, I surprised myself. I was like, damn, I'm actually good at this. And it lit a little spark inside of me. And I just thought, I wonder if I could make a little extra money doing this. It wasn't about changing my whole life. It wasn't some big vision. It was just curiosity. We didn't have a lot of extra money at that time, and I really wanted to travel. So I started charging people to paint murals in their homes, and I saved up that money, and it completely paid for my husband and I to take a lovely long trip to Scotland. And the funny thing is that tiny desire, that little whisper, opened a door that I couldn't have predicted. It wasn't just that I made money to go somewhere cool. It grew me in ways that I didn't even know I needed. It moved me into entrepreneurship, which eventually moved me toward coaching, and it moved me towards who I am today, all because I followed a little tug for more. Now, I'm going to tell you about Sarah. Sarah is not one specific client that I have worked with. Instead, she's kind of a composite of several women that I've worked with, because this really is a more common issue than you might realize. Sarah has a beautiful life, truly beautiful, but she wants more money. She already has money, but she wants more. She wants more cushion, more choice, more opportunities. But every time she thinks the thought, I want more money, she instantly feels guilty. She tells herself things like, I should give more, not earn more, and I should be happy with what I have. And what I say to that is, honey, of course you want more. You are supposed to want more, because wanting more money is rarely about greed for the women that I have worked with. It's usually about freedom and generosity and expansion. And there is nothing wrong with that. So let me just tell you one of my favorite motherhood moments. And honestly, when I think about it, I can get a little teary-eyed. Still to this day. When my son was only 6 weeks old, we took a long road trip from Texas all the way up to South Dakota. And I was breastfeeding him at the time. So we would pull over somewhere and take him out of his car seat, and I would breastfeed. And one day we pulled into a gas station, far away from people, obviously. And I'm sitting there in the car feeding him, my sweet, tiny, soft, still very new to the world baby boy. And as he's eating, he looked up at me, right into my eyes, and he grins. And y'all, when I think about this moment, it still gives me chills. It was just pure magic, pure love and joy. It is literally one of the most precious moments I have ever experienced in my entire life. But here's the funny thing. When I was 30 years old, I didn't want kids at all. My husband and I were not planning to have kids. Now, obviously that changed. I had my son when I was 32. And yes, it was on purpose. But listen, if I had stayed exactly who I was and where I was at age 30, right? If I had decided, nope, I'm good. I don't want more. I'm just going to be grateful for what I have, because I had a great life. We had a good marriage. We were making good money. We had just moved into our dream house that had the biggest kitchen I had ever seen. Like, things were good. But if I had just been satisfied, I would have missed that beautiful moment. I would have missed an entire universe of joy and becoming and growth that comes when you are a mother. Here's the thing. Desire opens doors that we don't even know exist. And this is how I visualize desire. It's a small, little, glowing gemstone sitting in your chest, right there in your heart. It's not loud. It's not demanding. It's a gentle tug on a thread. That is the divine whisper. Oprah has talked about how when God is speaking to you, that it starts as a whisper. And if you ignore it, then it becomes a little tap. And eventually, there's a little pebble pinging on your head. And so if something is bubbling up for you more than once, if it keeps glowing, that is God or the universe or whatever it is that you believe in, tapping you on the shoulder, saying, hey, there's something here for you. Follow this. And here is a really important point. Gratitude and desire are not opposites. They are not competing forces. They are not mutually exclusive. You can have desires for more and also be insanely grateful. And in fact, desire and gratitude work beautifully together. Gratitude actually stabilizes desire. When you are grounded in gratitude, you are wanting more from a place of stability, not panic, not comparison, and not scarcity. Positive psychology research actually shows that gratitude increases emotional regulation and clarity. So your desire becomes cleaner, more aligned. You're not running away from your life. You're expanding within it. And desire amplifies gratitude. This one surprises people a little bit, but it is true. When you follow a desire, you often become more grateful for the life you have built. because you see that this new thing, this new chapter is only possible because of everything else that you've created. Desire makes you appreciate your own journey even more. They are both part of the same growth cycle. Gratitude roots you, and desire grows you. So Maslow, a psychologist behind the hierarchy of needs, talked about this idea that humans are wired for growth. We are not designed to stop evolving. We are designed to reach, to expand. So it makes perfect sense to feel both gratitude and desire at the same time. That is not a contradiction. It is an evolution. So let's talk about the guilt specifically for a second. That guilt that you're feeling, it is not coming from your soul. It is coming from scripts that you didn't choose. You inherited them. You didn't create those thoughts. And the way that we shift them isn't by forcing ourselves to act differently. It starts with just gently noticing them. So if you are struggling with this, here are 2 things that you can practice this week. First is just awareness. When you feel that little pull towards something, and then the guilt shows up right after it, just notice it. Notice the tug, notice the thought, notice the guilt. Awareness is always the first step. The second thing is choose a mantra to say to yourself when you notice that. You can make up one of your own or try one of these. I can be wildly grateful and still want more. Or, my desire is a divine nudge. And just say that when that guilt pops up for you. Say it to yourself when you start to shrink. Now, I know this is an issue that so many women deal with. So if you have someone in your life that comes to mind that you think could benefit from this information, a sister, a friend, a girl at work, right? Go ahead and share this episode with her, because this is a conversation that so many women need and almost none of us are having out loud. So just remember that you are not alone in wanting more. You are not greedy. You are not ungrateful. You are not too much. You are growing. You are expanding. You are following the divine desires that are growing you into the woman you are supposed to become. You can be grateful and want more. All right, y'all, that's all I've got for today. Go be fabulous. Make sure you take my free Shift Happens quiz to find out what you're really craving next in midlife. Or if you think you might be ready to dive into one-on-one coaching with me, book a free clarity call. You'll find both links right below the video.